Hello everyone, my name is Saksham Dikshit and this is my channel Pentest Diary. So today I'll make another video on the same series of Solidity programming series, and in this I'll try to cover immutability. So why we require the immutability and what actually is this concept is and where exactly we are utilizing this, everything I'll try to cover in this video itself. So we'll start with this keyword immutability. Okay, so what actually is the immutability that we are just discussing first. So the immutable keyword is used to declare state variable whose values can be changed after they are initialized. These variables are similar to constant but are initialized at deployment time rather than at a compile time. So what actually a difference is? So if you're defining any I can say any state variable itself, so either we have the option just to get it defined or initialize the content of that variable at the inline time, but the thing is that in inline, but if we're talking about the another concept, if we want to get it defined the value at the time of deployment, instead of just compile that, if we want to get it deployed that also and want to change that value at the time of deployment, then what we have to do? So in that case only a immutable keyword we have to use it, by which we can change the value even at the time of deployment also, right? So how we can do that? Like in immutable also we have two concepts. Either we can define the value at the time of inline, or we can change the value at the time we have to define that instead of the constructor. These are the two ways, but in case of normal state variable itself, it's nothing like that. We simply have to think about only like to get it defined in inline only. We don't have any other option. So it's get compiled at the time only the values get initialized. Other than that, there is no possibility for it, and constant is also one of the possibility for it. So immutable is the best option for it. If we want that value to be get it changed at the time of the deployment itself, then in that case we have to use it. But once it's get changed, it's forever the same till we are utilizing the same contract, the value will remain be the same. So we are not supposed to change that value later facets. So there is a little bit content about it, like in case of a constant state variable, it is inline as we have discussed about it, means we can need to initialize at the time of the declaration only. So at the time of declaration you can initialize the value that's coming under that constant state variable. If we're talking about the next level to overcome this problem, where we can make our state variable and initialize its value at the time of the deployment, which we're talking about, that's a immutable. In case of immutability, we can initialize at the time of inline and even through the constructor also, both the ways. And if we try to compare that costing of the guess cost for all those sections, so in case of simple state variable, if we're talking about, the value will be bit high, but in case of immutable, it's lesser than the simple one, like normal one. And if we're talking about the constant state variable, in that case the value of the guess will be little bit less than the immutable one. So if we're talking about the guess efficiency and everything, we'll just go with the constant. If we do not supposed to change anything at the time of the deployment, everything to be get declared at the declaration time itself, then in that case we have to go ahead further with the constant variable. But if we want that to be get it changed at the time of deployment also, then at that time we have to define the variable state variable as a immutable, so that we can change that at the time of deployment also. So now we'll go to the code, just see that how exactly we can use the immutable concept of it and how it is differ from that constant one. Let me go to the system now and showcase you how exactly it's working. So proceeding further in the same video itself, so this is the code which I have prepared it, and this is straightforward syntax, right? Now this is a contract name which we have defined as a immutable. Now we go inside of it, and these are the three things which we have to get it define it. The first, which we call it as a state variable, is a immutable. We want that state variable to be immutable. We discuss about the functionality of it in the later phase itself, but right now the initialization is happening, so that's I'm defining it. Now this is the constant state variable itself which we have to define it, and this is a simple state variable. Okay, so these are the initialization, that's it. Now we are defining constructor over here itself, where we are giving a value from our side which we want to get it utilized in case of immutable. We just taking concept of the immutable, and we just wanted that to be get it deployed at the time of deployment only. We can change the value of that immutable state variable itself. So that was the reason we just make that as a immutable, so that we can change the value at the time of the deployment. Okay, now we are making three functions over here itself. So the first function is I is for the immutable one. Okay, over here itself we just make it public view returns the value of the address itself, whatever the address we have it inside of it, that we get it, return it back. Similar for the constant also, and similar for the state variable, simple one also. Okay, so I think like you are able to understand the code now. Let me deploy that, and so that you can able to understand more about it. So just to get it deployed as it's required, this is a immutable one, we want to be get it deployed, so that we have to provide some address over here itself just to get it deployed. So it's state variable, but still we can change that value of it, of the address. So we'll simply have to copy the value of the address from the top, and we'll put it over here itself and click on deploy. Once we click on deploy, it's get deployed directly. And now this is the thing which I'm seeing it right now on my screen. Okay, so if I'll try to see the value of the test, it's the same address which I have given it at the time of the deployment. It's the same address. Now if I'll click on test2, I can able to see as I have defined it as address 1. So I'm just getting that address of address 1 only. And if I'm talking about this is also the same one. Okay, so these things are clear. Now we go to the next section for it, where we have to get it return the value for it. So if I'll go further with the constant, I can see the same value, address 1. If I'll talk about the immutable, I can see that address. And if I'll talk about the simple one, I can see over here itself. To make you understand more about it, let me go with the first thing, which we call it as this is a immutable one, this is the next one, and this is the next one. Okay, so we'll go one by one to each and every section for it. So let me go to the log section. Let me clear it, try to get it deployed once again. And the cost of the gas. Now if I'll talk about this, and if I'll try to see the cost of the gas, it's 446, 424. And if I'll talk about the simple one, what is the cost? It's too high. Okay, so now as we have did with that, so over here itself you can see when I try to get it execute only the plain state variable itself, then in that case the cost of the gas is bit high, that is 2515. Okay, but if we're talking about, if I talk about the immutable one, the gas cost is 446. But if we're talking about the constant, the value is bit low, it's 424. So as we compare with the gas cost itself, so you can able to understand, like as per our need itself, wheresoever we want the value to be get it changed at the time of deployment, we can go with the immutable one. If we want to make a smart contract bit efficient about it, and we want less gas to be get it consumed, then in that case we have to go with the constant. So there is a pro and the cons for it, so in both the cases itself. So I hope like you are able to understand the whole code and even that concept which I just want to convey to you. It's a bit easy, and it's not at all be a bit complex setup for it, but the thing is that if you try to understand in a smaller way, just try to get it mapped in an appropriate way, it's a bit easy for you to understand. Like whensoever try to write a code for it and try to understand like both the concept for it, like a offensive one and as a coder one itself. So if you think about from the both the point of view, and even as a manager interface itself, then in that case you are able to make the code very well as per the need. So initially when you're writing a smart context, it's just for you only, but later phases when you have become a pro itself, you try to make a code for the client, then at that time you have to think, you have to understand the requirement first, clearly understand, then try to make it. So wheresoever they require the efficiency, you have to go with the efficiency. Wheresoever they want more security over there itself, they have more requirement to be fulfill, we have to provide that requirement to be get it fulfilled, then in that case the preference will be different. So it depends on the totally with the preferences of the client itself, wheresoever we are trying to make it. Even for our company itself, if we're trying to make some content, make sure that code should be appropriate as per our requirement itself, then only this is most efficient one as compared to the normal one. So everyone want the smart contract to be smart as comparison to the normal code itself. If we are making it smart, that bit easy for us to customize it as per our need itself and even make it more efficient. Okay, so I hope this is the only thing which I just want to get it covered in this video. I hope you like this video. If you like, please subscribe my channel, and thank you so much once again. Take care. Bye bye.